Hello, Paris. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. How are you, Paris? Good evening, Sai. Good evening, Vaishnavi. Good evening, Shobhit. Good evening, Soumya Jyoti. How are you, Soumya? Good evening, everyone. Okay, so welcome to Python and Data Science internship organized by Biotechshalaa. My name is Muskan Kashyap, and I'm a working professional as a bioinformatics analyst, and I hold masters in biotechnology. So, first of all, congratulations to all of you for taking this first step towards learning programming. I know many of you come from biotechnology or microbiology, pharmacy, genetics, or life sciences or related backgrounds. Some of you might already be thinking that I have never written a single line of code or programming is difficult. So, let me tell you something that programming is just another language. So, just like we learn English to communicate with people, in the same way, we learn Python to communicate with computers. So, you do not need to have any prior coding experience. Everything in this program will be taught from absolute basics. So, don't worry if you have never programmed before. Okay? So, first of all, let's talk about why should biology students learn Python. So I have one question to ask from you people. How many of you have heard of DNA sequencing? Let me know in the chat box how many of you have heard of DNA sequencing. Very good, Paras. Very good, Seali. Very good, Shobhit. Okay, have you heard of gene expression analysis? Do you know what a gene expression analysis is? Okay, very good, everyone. Very good, Sarang. Very good, Akshat. Okay, you might have heard of protein sequences, DNA sequences, RNA sequences, right? This is very common. And have you heard of NGS? Just let me know who do not have heard of NGS and bioinformatics by raising their hands. Okay, very good, Sai. Very good, everyone. Okay, Shobhit. Swayam Patil. Okay, very good. So very good everyone. There's not any problem if you have never heard of NGS or DNA sequencing or gene expression analysis, but thank you for answering honestly. So these things, these point here, these are modern biological research. So almost every modern biological research like DNA sequencing or protein sequences or NGS, so these modern biological research projects, they generate huge amount of data. Imagine that you have 5 DNA sequences. Okay, just imagine that you have 5 DNA sequences. Now you can analyze them manually. But what if you have 5 million DNA sequences? Now, can you open each sequence from this 5 million DNA sequences and calculate the GC content manually? Let me explain what GC content is. So, GC content simply means that a DNA here, a DNA, it is made up of 4 nucleotides, or we can say 4 bases, right? A, T, G, and C. So a DNA is made up of adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So GC content simply refers to the percentage of G and C base present in a DNA sequence. For example, we have this DNA sequence ATGCGC. Okay, so let's count how many bases we have in this DNA sequence. So in this small DNA sequence, we have A only one time, so that is why 1 is written here. We have T base only one time in this DNA sequence, so we have written 1 here. We have G 2 times here and here. So in this DNA sequence, we have G 2 times, so G is written here 2. And in the same way, we have C base 2 times. So the total number of bases in this small DNA sequence is 6, and G and C, so 2 plus 2, it is 4, correct? So the total number of bases is 6 and the total number of G and C bases is 4. So therefore, to calculate the GC content, what do? We write number of G bases plus number of C bases, that is 4, divided by total bases, that is 6. And to calculate the percentage, we multiply it by 100. So if you solve this maths here, your answer will be 66.7%. This means this DNA sequence contains 66.7% GC content. Now, in biology and bioinformatics, this GC content, it is an important property of a DNA because it can provide information about genome composition. This GC content, it can provide information about gene regions, about DNA stability, and many other biological analysis. Now imagine that calculating the GC content for one DNA sequence manually. So this is easy here. But we are talking about 5 million DNA sequences. So if you want to calculate the GC content of 5 million DNA sequences, now would you just sit and count every 80 GC by hand in this 5 million DNA sequences? Obviously not, right? So this is where Python, it becomes extremely useful. So Python, it automates repetitive work. Now what do we understand by automate here? So it means that instead of you performing this same task again and again for 5 million DNA sequences, what you will do, you will write the instruction only once, and the computer, it repeats those instructions automatically as many times as needed. So for example, suppose you have 5 million DNA sequences and you want to calculate the GC content of each sequence present here. So without Python, what you will do, firstly, you will open the first sequence, you will count the 80 GC, you will calculate the GC content, you will write down the results, and then you will repeat the same process for second sequence, and then the third sequence, and then the fourth sequence, until all of the 5 million sequences are completed. Now, this could take weeks and even months. But with Python, you can simply write a small program once. The computer then performs the same calculation automatically for every DNA sequence without getting tired or making any counting mistakes. So instead of spending several days or even weeks doing the repetitive calculations, Python can often complete the same task in just a few seconds or minutes. So that's why Python has become one of the most important programming languages in biology, in bioinformatics, in genomics, and in data science. And for the same reason, today almost every biotechnology or every bioinformatics company, they expect basic Python knowledge from you. So do we have any question from this slide? Are there any questions still here? Okay, very good everyone, very good Akshita. Okay, so now that we understand that why biology students should learn Python, let's understand the most important question. What exactly is Python? So Python, it is a high level interpreted general purpose programming language that is widely used across many industries including biology and life sciences. So here don't worry that if these terms here they seem new to you, so let's understand them one by one. So first of all, let's talk about who developed Python. So Python was developed by Guido van Rossum. So he started working on Python in 1989, and the first official version, Python 1.0, was released in 1991. So his goal was very simple. He wanted to create a programming language that was easy to learn, easy to read, and easy to write, even for beginners. So today, Python is one of the most popular programming languages in the world, and it is continuously maintained by the Python Software Foundation, in short PSF. Now, many people think that Python is named after a snake because, right, Python refers to a snake. So actually, it is not. So Guido van Rossum was a huge fan of a British comedy show, and the show name was Monty Python's Flying Circus. So he wanted a name that was short, unique, and easy to remember. So he named the language Python. So the Python logo, it has two snakes, but the name itself comes from the comedy show. Okay, so that's the story history behind the name Python. Now, what is programming language? We are saying that Python is a programming language. So what do we mean by programming language? So just like we use English and Hindi to communicate with people, so computers, they also need a language to understand our instructions. So a programming language is simply a language that allows the human to communicate with computers. So whenever we want a computer to perform a task, we write instructions in a programming language. So computer, it reads those instructions and it performs the task accordingly. And here we are also saying that Python is a high level programming language. Are we clear with the term programming language first? Let me know in the chat box. Do we understand the term programming language? Okay, very good. So here we are saying that Python is also called a high level programming language. So here, look at this section here. So a high level language, it means that it is easy for humans to read and to write because its syntax is very similar to the everyday English. So for example, instead of writing hundreds of complicated instructions, we can simply write print hello world. So you can see that this code here, this is a very short code, but it is very familiar to English, right? So that is why this makes Python a high level programming language. Okay, and here we are also saying that Python is an interpreted language, right? Python is an interpreted language. So what do we mean by interpreted language? So this means that Python, it executes your program line by line. Means when you run your code, Python reads the first line and it then executes it. Then Python reads the second line, it then executes it, and then Python reads the third line, execute it, and then so on. So this work here, that it is an interpreted language, means it executes the code line by line. So this makes the debugging much easier because if any error occurs, Python tells us exactly which line caused the problem. So we will obviously see the example how Python is an interpreted language, but here for now we are covering the theory. Okay. And here we are also saying that Python is a general purpose programming language. So this means that it is not designed for only one field. Instead, it can be used in almost every domain. Whether you want to develop websites, whether you want to analyze the biological data, whether you want to build artificial intelligence models, or you want to automate laboratory tasks, or for example, you want to perform scientific research. So Python can do all of this. Now, there are many other programming languages as well, like C, C++, Java. So out of so many programming languages out there, why Python is only so popular? So there are several reasons why Python is very popular. First reason is that it is easy to learn and it is beginner friendly. Second reason, that it has simple and a readable syntax. Third reason, that it requires few lines of code. So as if we talk about other languages, they require a little more code. So Here, Python, it requires fewer lines of code compared to many other languages. And it is free and it is an open source. And here, it has a huge community support. Now, what do we mean by huge community support? So one of the biggest advantages of Python is its huge community support. So a community is simply a large group of people who use and contribute to Python. So today, millions of students, millions of researchers, software developer, data scientists, bioinformatician, all around the world, they all use Python every day. So if you ever get stuck while writing a Python program, so there is a very high chance that someone else has already faced the same problem and shared the solution online. So you can easily find the tutorials, you can find the documentation, you can find the discussions, YouTube videos are available, blog articles are available, example programs are available. So this means that you are never learning Python alone. There is always a global community which is ready to help. Okay. And another important point is it has thousands of ready to use libraries. Now, what do we mean by libraries here? That I am saying Python has thousands of ready to use libraries. So let's take an example. Imagine that you are cooking food in your kitchen. Okay, it's a very interesting example. So imagine that you are cooking food. So instead of growing vegetables on your own, instead of grinding the spices on your own and making everything from the scratch, what you do, you buy ready-made ingredients from a supermarket. Correct? So this saves you a lot of time and effort. So in the same way, these Python libraries, they work in a very similar way. So a Python library is just a collection of pre-written code which is created by other programmers. So instead of writing everything yourself, you can simply use these libraries to perform the complex task with just a few lines of code. For example, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and BioPython. So these are the libraries that we are going to learn in this 3 week of internship. So if we talk about the NumPy library, so NumPy library, it helps us perform the mathematical calculation efficiently. If we talk about Pandas library, Pandas, it helps us work with tables and data sets. If we talk about Matplotlib library, so the Matplotlib, it helps us create graphs and charts. Now, for example, if you want to create a graph and a chart, so you are not writing the code from scratch. Instead, you are using a library, and that library is Matplotlib, which is used to create the graph and charts. And that library, that code is already written by someone else, so that you don't have to work everything from scratch. So you are using a pre-written code which is already written by someone else, someone expert. Okay, that means you are using someone else's work. And if we talk about BioPython library, so BioPython, it helps us analyze the DNA, RNA, and protein sequences. So let's take example of BioPython library. So imagine again that you want to calculate the GC content of thousands of DNA sequences. So instead of writing those thousands of lines of code yourself, the BioPython library, it already provides functions that makes these tasks much easier. So that is why Python is so powerful, because it has thousands of ready to use libraries which are developed by experts for different fields, and it allows us to solve the complex problems quickly without writing anything from scratch. And Python is also used in research, industry, healthcare, finance, AI, and much more. So here, for example, if tomorrow you join companies like MedGenome, there is one company like Strand Life Sciences, there is company like Illumina, or there is one more company, Thermo Fisher, or for example, you join any lab, okay, you join any genomics lab. So Python, it will be one of the most valuable skills that you can have. Okay, so this is one of the biggest reason why companies they prefer Python. Here, these are all the applications of Python, means these are all the different fields where Python is being used currently at this time. So Python is used in bioinformatics, it is used in the field of artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science and analysis, web development. So these are all the different kinds of field. Okay. So throughout this internship, we will be using 4 important Python libraries: NumPy for numerical computing, Pandas for data analysis, Matplotlib for data visualization, and BioPython for biological sequence analysis. And by the end of these 3 weeks, you will understand how each of these libraries help solve the real biological problems. So I have already provided you the installation video of Python and VS Code. So did you install Python and VS Code on your system? How many of you have installed? Let me know by raising your hands. Okay, very good. So those people who already have installed Python and VS Code, very good. But those students who still haven't installed Python and VS Code, kindly watch that YouTube video which I have provided and install the Python and VS Code on your system. Okay. Okay. So after downloading and installing Python, what we do, we usually check whether it has been installed correctly or not. So to do that, what we do, we open a terminal. So if you are working on Windows, you will open the command prompt, and if you are working on Mac, you will open your terminal. Okay, so to open the command prompt, what you can do, you can directly search for command prompt here. Okay, so here you can directly open command prompt from here. Or if you want a shortcut, you just press window and R button in your keyboard, and here you will write CMD. Okay, here you will write CMD after pressing window and R button in your keyboard. Write CMD and click OK. So this is a shortcut to open the command prompt, or either you can directly search for it. So after installing Python, we have to check whether it has installed properly or not. So to check it, we have opened the command prompt, and here we will type a command. So you will type the command Python space dash dash version. So by typing this command, you have to press enter and you will see something like this. Your Python version will be available here. Okay, so this is the command to check whether your Python has installed on your system. So if it has installed, it will show you your Python version. Okay, and one more thing, this command here, it only works in Windows. Okay, so if you are working on Windows, you will run this command, but if we are working on Mac, so you will write Python 3 space dash dash version. Okay, if you are working on Mac, you will write this command. So this command here, it works for Mac, and this command here, it works for Windows. So this command here, it will not work for me if I press enter. So here you can see Python was not found. Okay, so this command here, it does not work in Windows. So both commands here, it do the same thing. They simply check the installed Python version. The only difference is the operating system. So Windows is a different operating system and Mac is a different operating system. So are we clear how to check the version of the Python that you have installed? Okay, very good. So now we have confirmed that Python is installed on our system. Now what we have to do, we have to open VS Code. So let's search for VS Code. So this is the VS Code, Visual Studio Code. I hope you have installed and downloaded this as one. So let's open it. Okay, so this is the interface of the VS Code. So the question is that after installing Python, that we downloaded the Python, we installed the Python, why did we install VS Code? Can anyone answer me? That after installing the Python, what was the necessity to install VS Code as well? Very good, Sayali. Very good, Vanshita, Anand, Soumya Jyoti to write Python codes. Very good. So Python, it is a programming language that we have just discussed about. Very good, Paras. Very good, Shobit. Very good, Sai. So Python is a programming language, correct? But we need a place to write that programming language. We need a place to edit it. We need a place to organize and to run our Python programs. So VS Code, it provides that environment. For example, you can consider like Python is the English language and VS Code is just like a notebook where you can write that English language. So without a notebook, you cannot write a language, right? So in the same way here, many programmers, they use a code editor like VS Code. So what is a VS Code? It is simply a code editor. And obviously there are many other code editor as well. Just like VS Code, you can use many different code editors as well. But here we are specifically using VS Code because it is free, it is an open source, it is beginner friendly, and it is fast and lightweight, and it works well on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, and it supports almost every programming language. So here for Python we are using VS Code, but VS Code can be used for many other languages as well. Okay, so that's why we will be using VS Code. So here, this is the welcome window that you are seeing here in this VS Code. And I hope that you have installed Python extension in the VS Code as well. Did you install the Python extension? Okay, so here, this is the extension section. So first of all, what you will do, you will download the Python, you will install it, then you will download the VS Code, then you will install it. And here in this VS Code, you will open this extension section and you will download the Python extension. So this is the Python extension by Microsoft.com. So it is a very trustworthy because it is from Microsoft. So from here, you will install the Python extension. Okay, so okay, tell me that why are we installing Python extension? If we have already installed Python, so why there is a need to install Python extension in VS Code? Who can answer me? Anyone? Okay, very good, Adnan Ahmed. Okay, very good, Vanshita. Very good, Nesan Priya. Okay, very good, Shobit. So by default, VS Code is just a code editor, right? We just discussed about that VS Code is only a notebook. So VS Code, it does not know anything about Python, right? So to make VS Code understand the Python programs, we need to install this Python extension. Okay, are we clear? Okay, so we have Python extension installed on our VS Code. Now we can easily create a Python file. So let's create a Python file. So here in this Explorer section, okay, let me zoom out a bit. Here. Here you are seeing some options, file, edit, selection, view. So what we have to do, we have to create a Python file. So here we will click on this file option. Here you can see new text file, but we don't want to create a text file. We want to create a Python file. So we will click on this new file option. So let's click here, and here let's give a name to our Python file. Let's write day 1. Now I have given the name day 1 to my Python file, but here it is still not a Python file. So to make it a Python file, I am going to add the extension. So here we will write .py. So you must have heard of extensions, right? If we create a normal text file, you might have observed that there is .txt at the end of it, right? If you have some photos, there is some .png. So what are those called? Those are called extensions. So we just install the Python extension on our VS Code so that here VS Code can understand our Python files. So here, to make a Python file, we have to add this .py extension. Okay, now let's press enter. So let's save this file. I'm going to save this file in my desktop. Okay, now let's click on create file. Let me zoom in now. Okay, so here we can see our file has been created, day1.py, and you can see this Python logo here as well. Okay, so if you are not seeing a Python logo, that means you forgot to add .py extension. Okay, so here, this section here, this is the Explorer section. So this section here, it shows all the files and all the folders in your project. So as we create more Python programs during this internship, they will all appear here. But for now, what is the problem? We only created a Python file. We did not create any folder. So to create a folder, what I'm going to do, let's open our file explorer. Let's go to desktop. So this is the file that we just created, correct? So I am going to create a folder. So let's create a folder and let's name it Python. And I'm going to move this file in my folder. Okay, so I have my folder Python. Let's open VS Code again. Now let's open a folder. So here I have my folder on desktop. Let's select Python folder. Let's select folder. So now we can see in this Explorer section, we have our folder Python opened, and inside we have this one file. Okay, now what are you going to do? You will create your all the files in this folder, and in VS Code you can see all your files in this project. Okay, are we clear? Nikita, what do you want me to explain? Okay, let me explain it again. So let me just delete this folder again. Let me cut it and paste it here. Okay, I'm deleting this folder. Okay, so here, first of all, let's open our file again. Okay, let's click on file. Let's click on open file. Okay, if you want to open any file, you will just go on file. You can create new file. You can open a file. So I have my file on desktop, right? We just created this Python file. Let's open it. Now, here you can see that we don't have any folder, correct? We just have a simple one file. Now, we are going to work daily, right? Day one, we will have another work for day two, we will have another work for day three, means we are going to write many different programs. So we need to organize it, right? We need to create many Python files. We cannot just work in this one simple file, right? We need to create many Python files. Now we need to organize it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my file explorer. So here on the desktop, I have my file. So here I'm going to create a folder. So let's create a folder, click on folder, and here let's name this folder Python. Okay, I just named my folder Python, press enter. And here I'm going to move my Python file in this folder. That means whenever I will create more Python files, I can just simply open this folder. So let's open VS Code here. Let's click on Explorer section here. Okay, let's click on File. Let's click on Open folder. Okay. So here we have this folder Python, and let's select folder. Now let's open this section here. So in this Explorer section, you can see your Python folder. That means if I want to create more Python files, I will just simply save all my files in this Python folder. Okay, so as we work more, as we go from day 2, day 3, day 4, we will create all the files and we will save all the Python files in this folder. So are we clear? Okay, very good. So if you want to open your folder, you can directly click on this Explorer section, or you can just click here. You can click on File. Here you can open your folder. Okay. Okay. So here, if you want, you can just click on it. If you don't want to see this explorer side here, you can just click it. It has just vanished. Or if you want it as well, if you want to see it, you can just click on it and it appears again. Okay, so you can keep it as you would like. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on it again because I don't want to see it. So let's zoom in. So this is our first Python file, day1.py. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a very simple code. So here, let's write print, let's add parentheses. These are called parentheses. And I'm going to add quotation marks. So these are called quotation marks. And I'm going to write hello world. Now, this is our first code. This is our first Python program. I have written print hello world. Now, by just looking at this line of code, can you tell me what do you understand by this? Here, I have written an instruction, right? We are using a programming language Python. And why are we using the programming language Python? Because we want to give computer the instructions. So by writing this code, I am giving computer a instruction. So can you tell me in the chat box at what instruction I'm trying to give to the computer? Anything that you observe, anything that is on your mind, anything that comes on your mind, just write it. Okay? Very good, Swayam. Very good, Shivaji. Sai Vijay. Anand. Print function, print the text to print hello world. Very good, Seali. Very good, Farhana. That is the same meaning. That is what we understood about that Python is a high level interpreted language. Means its syntax is almost similar to English and it is very easy to learn and to write. So here, by writing this code, what instruction I am trying to give to the computer? That I want to print hello world. Okay. So here you can see this triangle here. This is actually called the run button. Now I have written my instruction. Now I give the instruction to the computer. Now the computer have to execute this instruction, right? So to execute this instruction, we have to click on this run button. So let's click here. Now here, this section here, it is called terminal. So here, what you just did, we give an input and here the computer gave us an output. Okay, what is this called? It is called input and it is called output. So you will see all your output here in this terminal section. Okay, so this here, it is called terminal. Now you can see that I gave an instruction to the computer that I want to print hello world, and on the screen the computer printed me hello world. So we just ran our first code. We just wrote our first program. So here let's talk about this print. This print here, it is actually called a function. So here you might have noticed here that to print this simple text, hello world, we did not use 5-6 lines of code. We only used a simple word print, which is called a function in Python. So this print here, it is a built-in function in Python. Means someone was there who wrote this function so that it is not necessary for us to write this, means to give this instruction, a very simple instruction to computer from scratch. So here you are seeing that we have not written anything from scratch. Someone made this function print so that we can just simply call it, we can use it and we can print our text. Okay, so this print here, it is a built-in function in Python. So someone already written its code and he created this function and we are simply calling this function. Okay, and here you are seeing that we added these parentheses. Okay, you can say that these are circular brackets, but we here call them parentheses. And here these are called quotation marks. So this is the rule that you have to write the code like this. Okay, so this print here, its job is to print something on the screen. Print function here, its job is to display something on the screen, and when we clicked on the run button, we can see that the computer did its work. We gave the instruction, the computer followed it. Okay, so this is actually called a syntax. Just like we have rules in English, right? Present tense, past tense, future tense. For present, we will use is, am, are. For past, we will use was, were. For present, we will for future, we will use will, shall. Right? Those are the rules. In the same way, these are the syntax rules. Okay, that you have to use parenthesis and you have to write your text inside this quotation marks. So, are we clear till here, or do we have any questions? Do we understand about the print function and the syntax that I'm talking about? Okay, very good. Now, in the same way, we can write more lines of code. We also learned that Python execute the code line by line, right? Do we remember? Hitakshi, for now, just focus here, okay? For now, just observe, and whatever problems that you are facing, we will solve them later. Okay, you have the recording here, but for live classes, for interactive classes, just focus here first. Okay, Hitakshi, we can solve your issues later. Okay. Okay, so let's write another code. So you can see this was the code in the first line. Now let's write something else. So let's write print. I'm using the function again, print. Let's add parentheses. Let's add quotation marks. Let's write welcome to Biotechshalaa. So here we just wrote our another code. Okay, let's click on run button again. So here you can see firstly the Python executed this first line. This is the first line and this is the second line. So you can see that Python execute the code line by line. We can write one more line of code. Let's write print. Let's write hello Python. Okay, let's click on run button again. So here what are we seeing? That first of all, hello world is being executed. So what is Python doing here? Python firstly reads this line of code and it then executed. Then it moves to second line of code and then it executed. And then it moves to third line of code and then it executes it. So Python execute the code line by line. So this is a fact and you have to remember this fact that Python execute the code line by line. It does not execute your whole code at once. Okay, it executed line by line. Are we clear with this? Akshat, I just said that focus here. Okay, for now, observe. You will have plenty of time to practice. Okay, so first of all, observe here, and whatever problems you face while you are practicing, you can text me directly. Okay, but for now, just observe. Okay, so I want to show you a very important thing here. So I just said that this syntax is important, how we are writing this code, that you have to add this parenthesis, you have to add this quotation marks. So if I remove this quotation marks, so we can see there is red color now. The color has changed, right? Let's see it again. Let's add quotation marks again. So you can see the color is white, correct? So if I remove these quotation marks, so you can see the color has changed to red. And here you can see there is a red line and there is a yellow line as well. Now what is this? It means that there is a syntax error, right? And now we understand why is there a syntax error, because we did not use quotation marks to print this text. Okay, so let's click on run and let's see what are we going to see in our terminal. So here, what are we seeing? We are seeing syntax error. So do we understand the term syntax now, that it is a invalid syntax? So this syntax here, it is invalid, and it also shows us that where is the syntax error. So the error is in the line number 3. So this is the line number 3 and this is the syntax error. So are we clear with syntax error? Do we understand the syntax error? Okay, now let me show you one more thing. I just told you that Python executed line by line, correct? Python execute the code line by line. So our first line of code is correct. our second line of code is correct, but our third line of code, it has a syntax error. But if first line of code and second line of code is correct, then why are we not seeing in our terminal? Right? Our code is correct here. So it should have printed in the terminal, right? It should have executed these two codes because these two are correct. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just remove this Python, and if you notice, the red line has gone. Let me write Python again here. Okay, so here, can you see there is a little red line and then this yellow line? And if I remove this Python, the red line has gone. Did you notice it? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this again and we are seeing something interesting. Let's click on run. Now here can you see that the Python executed the first line of code, Python executed the second line of code, and in the third line of code we had an error. And here it is showing us clearly that the error is in the line number 3. But this time the error has changed. Now this is not a syntax error, this is a name error. We understand the syntax error now, right? But what is this name error? And in this name error, Python executed the first and the second line. But in the syntax error, Python did not executed the first and the second line. So to understand this name error, we have to understand variables. So let's talk about variables first. Now here, observe here that I have used here hashtag. So here this hashtag means that this is a comment now. So these comments here, they are only for us, for humans. Okay, these comments, they are not for computers. So I don't want the computer, the Python, to execute my fifth line of code. So that is why I made it a comment by adding the hashtag. Okay, we can also make this line of code a comment as well. So you can, what you can do, you can press control and forward slash, and now this is a comment. Or you can simply add the hashtag as well, just like this. Okay, so I added hashtag. You can simply add hashtag, or what you can do, you can simply select it and press control and forward slash. Okay, so you can make it a comment and you cannot make it a comment. Okay, so are we clear with comments? Okay, so Python comments means that Python will not execute this line of code. It is just like a notes only for us, only for humans. Okay, so let's understand variables now. So I'm going to give you a very simple example to understand about variables. You all might have worked in a lab, correct? You have seen some test tubes, you have worked with test tubes. So what you do in a lab, if you are working with multiple test tubes, you label them, correct? For example, you have one test tube and you have sample A, you will write sample A on that test tube. And if you have another test tube and you have another solution, you will write name sample B in the second test tube. And for the third test tube, you will write sample C, right? So you have three different test tubes and you gave names to them. You gave labels to them, sample A, sample B, sample C. So what are these labels? These are the variables. So the labels, these names, variables, it is the same. Okay, in the same way, variables are exactly like labels. So your test tube 1, which you have given the variable sample A, contains a different solution. Your test tube 2, which you have given it the variable sample B, contains different solution. And your test tube 3, which you have given it the variable sample C, contains a different solution. That means these variables, they store values. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a variable. So let's write name, and I'm using here equal to sign, and I'm writing here my name Muskan. Now notice something here that I have used equal to sign. So to make a variable, you can name your variable anything. Here you can see if I hover over this, you can see it is showing us variable. That name here, it is a variable because I used the equal to sign. Now that means this is left hand side and this is right hand side. So on the left hand side, it is called a variable, just like your test tube, which you have given the name sample A. And this is the solution that sample A test tube is containing. Okay, so what are variables? They are simply like labels containing some value. Okay, so here name is a variable which is containing a value Muskan. For example, if I write age is equal to 24, so this is a variable which is containing the value 24. If I write, for example, gene, and here I give the gene name BRCA1. Now what is this? It is a variable which is containing a value BRCA1. We can also create a variable DNA which contains a DNA sequence. For example, ATGCGT. Okay, so here on the left hand side, these are called variables. You can also see there's a difference in color as well. Right here, this is a text, BRCA1 is a text, ATGCGT is a text. So they have this blue color. 24 here, this is a number. So that is why you can see it is in somewhat green in color, right? So here you can see if you want to write numbers, you will not use quotation marks. But if you want to write text, you will write it inside the quotation marks. This is the syntax. Okay, so are we clear till here? Are we clear about variables? And if you want to store your text values, you will store it in quotation marks. If you want to store some numbers, you will not write it in quotation marks. You will simply write it like this. Okay, so we just talked about here, we were talking about syntax error and we were talking about the name error, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable hello and I'm going to give it a value. Let's write welcome to Biotechshalaa and I'm going to write print hello. Okay, now observe something here. This third line of code and this 13th line of code, they are same. Correct? Let's make H capital. Let's make it totally same. Okay, so here it is also same, right? Okay, let's make this H capital as well. Okay, now see, this line of code is same, print hello, right? And this line of code is same, print hello. But here we are seeing this yellow line under this, but we are not seeing the yellow line under this. So can anyone explain me what is going on here? The code is the same, but here we have this yellow line, but we don't have this yellow line here in the 13th line of code. So can anyone explain me what is going on here? Anyone? Very good, Sai, because we have taken hello as a variable. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to make it a comment. So let's press Control and forward slash. This means Python will ignore these lines. Python will not execute these code. Okay, and here these are just variables and we have not used the print function, so they will not being executed. And here we have only used the print function once here in this 13 lines of code. So here the job of this print function is to display something on the screen. That means Python is going to execute this line of code, the 13th line of code. So let's click on run. So here, what are we seeing? Welcome to Biotechshalaa. But here I just write print hello. That I want to print hello. But here it printed me welcome to Biotechshalaa. So if you noticed here, in these lines of code, we understood about the syntax, right? That we have to write it inside the quotation marks. So when we wrote it inside the quotation marks, it was simply a text. So Python here, it printed the text. And here we did not write it inside the quotation marks. So here what is this? If I hover over this, we can see this hello is a variable. That means it is storing some value. And what is the value? The value is welcome to Biotechshalaa. So this line of code, print hello, it means we are trying to print the value of the variable hello, and the value is this, and this is what we are seeing on our terminal. So first of all, tell me, are we clear about these two lines of code, line number 12 and line number 13? Very good, Soumya. Very good, Swayam Patil. Okay. Swayam, I think my screen is visible to everyone else. Kindly check your internet. Okay, now we are going to talk about that error. Okay. So here, first of all, let's comment this one out. So here we have three print functions in our code, line number 1, line number 2 and line number 13. So let's click on run. So here we are seeing that Python executed this code, Python executed line number 2 code, and then Python executed line number 13 code. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to uncommented. Now what are we going to see? We understand that Python execute the code line by line. So here first of all Python will execute first line of code, Python will execute second line of code, and the third line we are going to see an error. And we already understand what error we are going to see, the name error. So let's click on run. So here we are seeing this name error. So now do we understand this name error? Here it is written the name hello is not defined. This means we wrote a variable here which we did not created before the line number 3. So this is not a syntax error, right? Here we can clearly see we just wrote print hello here. So here we did not see any yellow line because we created the variable hello and we gave it a value. But here in this line number 3, we did not created the variable hello. That is why we are seeing this name error. So are we clear with the syntax error and the name error? Okay, very good everyone. Now one more thing that I want to tell you here. Let's comment these lines of code here first, and let's again write Python. Now you can notice here the red line has come back, right? Now this means this is not a name error anymore. This is now a syntax error. And when we click on run, we are seeing the first line of code and the second line of code, it did not get executed in the syntax error. So why it happens in the syntax error that even though the line number 1 and the line number 2 is correct, Python still did not execute it. So what happens that the Python, it first check whether our entire program has valid syntax or not. So here if I just add quotation marks, so this is a valid syntax now. That means my all of the three lines will be getting executed. But if I remove the quotation marks, now here my program, it does not have a valid syntax. So what Python does, it first checks whether our entire program has a valid syntax. If the syntax is valid, the code, it will execute the code line by line. But if there is a syntax error anywhere in the file, the execution, the code here, they will never execute. So Python will simply tell us that we have this error in line number 3. Okay, so are we clear with this fact? Or do I need to repeat it again? Okay. So are we clear, correct, why the first line and second line of code is not being executed here, but in the name error it was being executed? Okay, very good. Now let's uncomment this one. Okay, so here we have understood. Yes, Paras, it should be inside the quotation marks if you want to make it a valid syntax. Okay, so a valid syntax looks something like this. Quotation marks, here these are the quotation marks and these are the parentheses. Okay. So here we learned about variables. We learned that here on the left hand side you can give any name to your variable. There are certain rules to make variable as well. For example, you can write variables like this. So a variable name should be somewhat easy, you can say, which is easy to interpret, right? For example, here the name is Muskan, so this variable is directly representing the name Muskan. So your variable should have some meaning. Okay, now the rules are, if you want to write something like name of student, so here as you can see there is some gap, right? So now this is not a valid variable. So this variable is wrong. So if you want to add some space, what you can do, you can just add like this. Okay, you just add underscores. Either you can write it like this or you can write it just like this. So you cannot add spaces in the name of the variables. Also, another rule that you cannot start your variable with the number. For example, if I write 1 here, so you can see the red line has come here, right? So you cannot start your variable with a number. You can write the number in between, you can write the number at the end, but you cannot start your variable with the number. Okay, so these are the very simple rules to make a variable. So are we clear with these rules? Also, you might have understood here by this example that if we add space here, so you can see we added this space here, so that is why it became a syntax error, right? But as soon as I removed Python, let's write it together. Okay, so here you can see red line is not there, that means it is a complete variable now. So now it will give us a name error. Okay, so now let's talk about some data types. Here we can see that we stored some two different values. Here, this is a text. Here, this is a number. So what are these? I can say that these are two completely different values, right? This is a different value. This is a different value. So Python, it stores different kinds of information, and we just saw two kind of information, one text and one a number. So actually there are four different kinds of data types that you can study about. So first one is this. So instead of saying it that this is a text, we say that this is a string. Okay, so if you write your text inside a quotation marks, it becomes a string. Okay, so this is a string. In the same way, here you have written your number, so it is called an integer. Okay, so this is a integer data type, this is a string data type. Now for example, if I write a decimal value, let's make a variable height, let's give it a value 165.4. Let's simply write 24.4. Okay, so here you can see 24, here it is an integer, but now here 24.4 is not an integer. It is a decimal value, and in Python we call it a float data type. Okay, so this is the data type string, this is the data type integer, this is the data type float, and one more data type that we have is, for example, if I make a variable is student. So here you can notice I use the underscore because I wanted some gap, and if I write true here, okay, so you can notice this is not a text. You can see its color is blue, there is no error here, there is no red line or yellow line. Here T is capital. So it is called a Boolean data type. Okay, let me write Boolean data type. In the same way, if I make is Gene, let's write is Gene make variable and let's write false. So here we have this again a Boolean data type. So we have these four kind of data types and we can store them inside variables. Okay, so a Boolean data type, it is simply true and false. So the T must be capital and the F must be capital as well. For example, if I write T small, so you can see now this is not a Boolean data type anymore. We can see this yellow line. Okay, so here we have this error now. So here you have to write T as capital and F as capital. So Boolean data type, it only has two values, true and false. And we have this floating data type, which is a decimal number. We have an integer data type and we have a string data type. So are we clear with these four kinds of data types that we can store inside our variables? Okay. Swayam, we are not trying to extract the information, we are giving value to our variable, right? We just talked about that this is a variable and this is the value of this variable. For now, we are just building our foundations. We will learn how we can use this Boolean data types as well. Okay, for now, we are understanding these four different kinds of data types. So here, this is a variable is student and this is the value that we gave to this variable. Okay, in the same way, this is a value that we gave to this variable and this data type is called Boolean data type. So for now, we are building our foundations. In the upcoming sessions, we will learn how we can use these data types. Okay, so here I just told you that it is a string, it is an integer, it is a float, and it is a Boolean. Now, what if I want Python to tell me that this is a Boolean data type? Here I am telling you, but I want Python to tell me that this is a Boolean data type. Means the value of this variable is a Boolean data type. The value of this variable is a string. So we can let Python tell us that. So for that, what we have to do, let me comment this one, press Control and forward slash, and we have made it a comment. That means Python will ignore these lines. So here, first of all, I'm going to write print. So print is the function. That means I want to print something on my screen. And what I want to print something on my screen, that I want to tell the Python to tell me what is the data type of this value or what is the data type of this value. So here, first of all, let's add parenthesis. So this is the syntax that you have to add parenthesis. Now here inside this, I'm going to type type. Okay, now in the same way print is a function, in the same way type is a function. So what I want Python to tell me that what is the data type of this value, the value of this variable. So for that we are going to use this function type and we want to print it. That is why here we have written print. Okay, now let's add parenthesis again, and here we will give the name of the variable whose data type value we want to print. Now, for example, this is my variable name, so we will simply write name. Here, we will not use quotation marks. Okay, we don't want to print a text. If I add this quotation mark here, now here, this is not a variable anymore. This is simply a text. Okay, I want to print the value, that what is the data type of this value this variable is storing. So here we will not add quotation marks. Okay, so whenever you want to print the value of your variable, you will simply write it like this. You will not add quotation marks. Now this is our complete code. So what is the meaning of this code? That this is my variable. This variable, if I here you can see my cursor here, so it is showing me variable, right? And this variable contains this value and I want to know what is the type of this value and I want to print it as well. So that is why I have used the function print. Now let's click on run. So here can we see class str, and str it stands for string. So what does Python print me? It printed me the type of the value this variable is storing, which is a string. In the same way, if I change my variable to age, okay, let's click run again. Now here we can see class integer means the value this variable is storing has the type integer. Okay, the data type is integer. In the same way, let's write height. Okay, let's copy it and let's paste it here. Let's click on run. So we can see float, that the value this variable is storing has the data type float. Okay, in the same way, let's use the boolean data type. Also, you can adjust this as well, terminal, as per you like. Okay, let's copy this variable name. Let's paste it here. Let's click on run. So here we can see class bool. So here this variable, the value that this variable is storing has the data type boolean. So here we are seeing bool. So are we clear with these two functions, print and type? So do we have any questions till now? What we have learned today? Do we have any questions? Okay, very good, Sai. Very good, Sandhya. Very good, Soumya Jyoti. Okay, so everyone, today was our very first class, and I hope by now that you have realized that programming is not as difficult as many people think. So, today we learned how to write very basic Python programs. So, right now we are only learning the building blocks. You can think of it like learning the alphabets before writing the sentences. Okay, so in the upcoming classes, we will combine all of these concepts to solve real biological problems. For example, we will calculate the length of the DNA sequences, we will count the nucleotides, we will calculate the GC content as well, the example that we just discussed about. We will analyze biological data sets, we will create graph as well, and we will even work with DNA, RNA, and protein sequences using the BioPython library. So everything starts with these small concepts here that we learned today. So I would like you to practice today's concepts before tomorrow class. Okay, and I will upload the assignment for you, the practice assignment, on the Google Classroom. So if you have not joined the Google Classroom yet, the link is in the WhatsApp group. So kindly join the Google Classroom and all the practice material will be shared there. Okay. Okay, so before attending tomorrow's class, please make sure that your Python is installed properly, your VS Code is installed, you have installed the Python extension in the VS Code, and you're able to create a Python file and you are able to run these programs successfully. Okay, so if you face any issues, you can ask about your doubts in the WhatsApp group, or you can either directly text me. Okay, I'm there to help you. Okay, everyone, then thank you for joining the today's session. So practice the today's program, complete the assignment, and if you have any doubts, feel free to ask. Okay. Okay, everyone, have a good evening. Shobit, the scope of bioinformatics. Shobit, first of all, I would like you to complete this internship, because as you will be working, you will get the idea yourself that what is the scope of bioinformatics. Okay. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining. Have a good evening.